Hey, beautiful. Welcome. So nice to be with you this morning. I just had a little kind of run-in with with my own money mindset stuff this morning. And honestly, it wasn't that bad, but it definitely brought up a little bit of feelings for me. And I was like, oh, this doesn't feel the way it used to feel. And that was major progress. But I wanted to share this story with you because you may experience things like this. I think when you're running a business, especially if you have to invoice people, if you have to choose what you're going to charge for your product or your services, that stuff just brings up your demons, right? And I am going to talk today on this podcast with you about how money is neutral. And this is true, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a lot of feelings that go alongside it and get pulled up, right? Money is your relationship with your father. Money is your fights with your partner. Money is how society sees and values you. So, of course, money feels incredibly, incredibly loaded. And navigating how you manage money and also feel around money is challenging. So I really want to be here to witness that with you today and to tell you that I too am human and experience these things, but also that they used to be really debilitating for me. And now they're more like that level, like no big deal, moving on. Right. So that's huge progress. So it is possible. So here's what happened this morning. Um, I had a message on Instagram from a perfectly lovely human being, as almost everyone I interact with on Instagram is. And they asked me, if they could ask me a question about a certain type of transaction, right? Um, you know, Probably that's a request for like a quick free answer, right? There's nothing wrong with the request. It's my job to say yes or no, right? But of course, a lot of us, especially if you're socialized as a girl, as a woman, you probably feel when you get a request that you're supposed to say yes, right? It probably already kind of digs at you and makes you feel like, ooh, I want to be nice. I want to be kind. I want to be generous. And you feel like if you draw a border there, that somehow you're not kind or nice or generous, right? And I think that is why money can feel so triggering because it brings up those feelings of, I'm not kind, I'm not nice, I'm not generous. Or if you do go in the direction where you give stuff away for free, you might feel exploited or nobody values you, or you are always never going to get ahead because everybody's always asking, asking, asking from you, right? We hold some we hold all the personal responsibility for setting our boundaries, and boundaries are fucking hard, right? They A boundary is not a thing you just state in your mind. I mean, that's the first step, but you have to say it out loud. And not only that, you have to constantly revisit it, adjust it, restate it. So they go on and on. I think probably being a parent has taught me more about boundaries than anything, like realizing that my kids, especially little kids, like they actually feel more safety when you give them good boundaries, right? They understand when you, and so I got a lot of practice as a mother, just saying over and over again what the boundaries were. You don't run into traffic. You don't eat candy bars for breakfast. We aren't going to watch 6 hours of television. I am not going to let you have an Instagram account. These are, I'm constantly negotiating boundaries as a parent. And I think it's made me sort of realize, one, that they're very necessary, two, that they can be very, very loving and create safety for the other person. So boundaries are, they're not just good for me, they're good for the people receiving the boundary. So anyway, this person just asked if they could ask me a question on Instagram. And a lot of times, I've probably trained people to ask me for stuff on Instagram because a lot of times I go ahead and just answer, right? A lot of times somebody will have a question, and if it's relatively quick and I'm kind of feeling in a good mood, I will totally just answer them, right? So today I didn't feel like that, right? I had kind of a hard weekend. We had some family stuff that happened. We had some pet deaths, 3 pet deaths, another bear. Um, and just some hard family stuff that I was dealing. And this Monday morning was not my greatest, and I wasn't feeling my best. So I received this request, and I basically wrote back, and I was like, You can ask me, but depending on, the level of detail, this is my booking link, right? Here's the link to book a consult with me. Of course, that's a paid consult, right? Um, so of course the person can ask me, they can see if I'll do it for free. They can book a call, which is guaranteed. And I had a moment of guilt after I set that boundary, right? I was like, oh, a lot of times I do answer those things. I didn't today. I felt a little guilty about it. And then I stopped myself. I was like, you know what? That's what it is to get free stuff, right? When I say this when I give, if you're listening to this when it comes out on Tuesday, a week ago, I gave a free class. And in that free class, I kind of set the parameters. In fact, I set the boundaries, right, for what I do and don't do right at the beginning of the class. And one of the things I say, and I think it's really important, is basically like, this class is not for you if you're going to be mad at me for talking about my paid program at the end. And then I go further, right? I could leave it there, but I don't. I say, this is really important because it's important to me, and I give stuff away for free very generously. I have a podcast that you're listening to right now for no money. I have a podcast. I have tons of free resources on my website. I have a free class about how to file this new mandatory report with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. I have downloads. I have all kinds of stuff I give away for free, right? Tons. And I feel great about that and I love it. But part of the reason that I feel great about it and I don't feel exploited is I have a very clear line about where the paid work begins, right? If you want to take up my time one-on-one, if you want to have a spot on my calendar, which I live by and run my days by, you have to pay for that, right? I'm not putting anyone on my calendar without a dollar exchanging hands. And I've really simplified my business to the point where I have one program. And when you're in my program, you get everything. And this is awesome for me because it simplifies my life. And what it means is I just put all my very best stuff, all the sort of hard work, outlines I write, and new courses I design, all of it goes first to my paying clients, the people who are in my program, right? And that feels great to me because then inside that program, especially because I don't have too many types of work I do, I have this one program. It means if you're in the program, you get all the stuff, you get all the good stuff, right? You kind of get the best of my brain. And it also means I prioritize you. If you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it, So, and also just to be clear, because I don't want to be unclear, like I still, even if you're in my program, I don't just answer questions for free or without, the proper paperwork that honestly is required when you're asking an accountant for tax advice. You have to sign a document saying, I understand the nature of this, and I agree to the conditions. But basically, so yes, even when people are in my program, they do still pay for one-on-one time. And I still think that that is very fair and very reasonable. And in fact, in my program, people access my one-on-one time for half the price that people who are coming from the outside and just want to ask me a couple questions, that's a separate, I charge them the most. And I also think that's fair, right? I've really thought about what I think is fair, both to the person receiving the value of what I offer and also what's fair to me. So anyway, to circle back to my story, I said, basically, it wasn't a no. I just said, like, I'm not going to just do this for free. Here's my paid link. If you care enough to pay for it, here's the link, and you can absolutely do it that way. And I think the distinction that made me really think about is like, when you're getting free stuff, you got to work on my terms. You're going to do it on my timeline when I feel like getting back to you, what is easy for me to deliver, what I kind of feel like talking about in that moment. And if I don't feel like it because I had a really rough weekend, for example, I'm going to say no, right? And that is free stuff. And I don't think anybody needs to feel guilty or bad for taking advantage of free things that somebody is like generously and happily putting forth in the world, nor should any of you who've like enjoyed my podcasts and my downloads and never joined my program. That's fine. I have no judgment there and I love that and I welcome you. That's so nice. The thing is just like, to me, where I am able to really have an attitude that continues to feel generous despite all that free stuff, is that I have a paid program where I feel that I am paid fairly. I'm paid enough. And I deliver my very best stuff into that program. And people in that program are the people in my world who I will say, yes, I will make time. Let's get that on the calendar. Right. And so that is more on your timeline, on your, talk about exactly what you want to talk about on your timeline, on your schedule, because you're paying, right? So that's kind of where I put the line in my own business. And it's helped me. It's helped me a lot feel really good about what I offer, both when it's free and when it's paid, and kind of know the difference. And that clarity between the two has just allowed me to not feel guilt when I say no. Or I'm not even saying no, I'm just saying not without dollars, right? Not for free. So I think that's fair. I think that's good. So I have a couple kind of takeaways I want to leave you with. I want to end this episode telling you what I think are the 3 keys to shifting your mindset when it comes to money. So stay tuned for that. I think that's really interesting. But I want to talk first, before we talk about how to shift it, I just want to talk about why I think so many of us who do work that we really love, that we really value and feel passionate about, why so many of us in particular get stuck in these mindset traps around money. And I think it's this. I think, you know, I think and I know what is true is that money itself is neutral, right? Money is a tool, it's an amplifier. So money amplifies the power of the person who has it, right? If you have more money, you can do more of whatever it is that you do. Um, you know, that might be buying a lot of shoes. It might be serving a lot of clients. It might be getting your message out to a broader audience. It might be creating a product that is more refined and made of finer quality materials, right? It could be any number of things, and it could also be abject evil, right? You could commit evil with money, and there are people who do that. I think what's important to understand is it is just an amplifier. And if you are good and ethical and passionate and behaving ethically already, money will help you do more of that. If you're a jerk and you don't care about people and you are behaving unethically, money can help you do more of that, right? Like, I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying money itself, money is not the bad thing. It's people being people, right? People gonna people. So what I think happens to people who are particularly passionate about what they do, who have goals where the money itself is not the goal, it's the excellence of your work or your passion for the kind of work you do that is the goal, and money is a little bit secondary. I think we tend to operate around people who are like us. And so it becomes a norm. We start to see people around us who also have disordered views about money, who don't see it as neutral. And a lot of times I find in clusters of people like us who are really values forward, we tend to perpetuate ideas very subtly sometimes that money is not neutral, but in fact, money is evil or bad. And people with money are bad. And that is the danger. That is the thing I want you to be aware of. I want you to note when it happens in your life, because that is where you screw yourself. Money can help you, right? Money is not itself good or bad, it's neutral. You are good or bad, and you can do good and you can do bad with money. That's up to you. Money is simply power, it's amplification. Okay. The same way, like, you don't think of, like, a hammer is also a tool, right? We don't go around thinking that hammers are morally corrupt or people with hammers are bad, right? Now, a hammer is the same as money in that you can build a house with it. You can do amazing, wonderful, productive things with a hammer. You can also ruin things with a hammer, right? You could hurt someone. You could destroy a car or a house with a hammer, right? The hammer is still neutral. It's the person holding the hammer who is, acting with its force upon it, and the hammer amplifies that force. So the thing I want you to really understand is if you shift out of feeling that money is neutral, if you don't see it as a tool, if you actually get out of balance where you think of money as negative, you will make decisions in your everyday life that work against your ability to have money or to advocate for yourself so that you have money. Think about it. If you have a sneaky back of your mind suspicion that people who have money are a little bit bad, are you really going to walk into a salary negotiation and really advocate for yourself when it comes to that salary negotiation piece? You're not, right? If you are trying to raise your prices with your clients because you're feeling overworked and burnt out and your phone is ringing off the hook and you can't do it at the level of money that you're currently bringing in, that is a clear sign that you need to raise your prices. But if you are stuck in the belief that, raising the prices is somehow morally corrupt or somehow exploitative, then you're not going to do it, right? Now, I'm here to tell you, when you raise your prices, it is going to bring up your money shit. That is natural. That is normal. But I'm trying to coach you through how you can get to the other side of that without having to sacrifice your own financial safety. Okay. So I just want you to really understand the neutrality principle, thinking of money as a tool and as something that is neutral and an amplifier. And in fact, and here I will say women, but this includes non-binary people, whoever you are, but women in particular, when there is good research about salary negotiations that shows that women are much better for advocating for other people than for themselves. And there is some research that shows that when women step into a salary negotiation and do a visualization exercise beforehand, where they think about the people in their life who depend on them and what money could do to help those people, that those women do a better job at advocating for a higher salary and that they get the higher salary, right? So if you want a little shortcut, money mindset work takes work. You need therapy maybe. It's hard, but if you want a little quick shortcut, the next time you were thinking about maxing out your IRA or raising your prices with your clients or walking into a salary negotiation, picture the people who depend on you. Right? Maybe it's your aging mother. Maybe it is your pets. Maybe it is your children. Maybe it's your partner. What could you do? What good could you do in the world for those people who you love if you had more money? And that's what I want you to think about. So now I just want to leave you with my 3 keys to shifting your money mindset. And I teach this to the people who are in my program, Money Bootcamp, but these are hard-won skills. And I think I say this from a place of having really seen a lot of patterns repeat and repeat and repeat when it comes to creative and visionary and ethical people who are running small business or working for themselves. And so this is my distilled wisdom for you about how to shift through to the more productive side of a good money mindset. Number 1, forgive yourself. Number 1, you have made mistakes in the past with your money. I have also made mistakes in the past with my money. In fact, some of them so embarrassing and horrific that I still can feel shame. Like losing $7,000. Like I lost all the money I had in a CD one time because I didn't bother to change my address when I moved. I didn't fill out any change of address forms. And the bank was trying to contact me because it had been sold to another bank. And then that bank even got sold to another bank. And the bank simply couldn't find me. And I lost the money. I just lost all my savings. So there's one terrible screw up. And the fact is, when I think about that, I feel so much shame. I feel it's just so awful to think about that terrible, stupid mistake. There is nothing I can do about it. And so I'm going to say to you what I also have needed to hear for myself. You just have to forgive yourself. You cannot change the past. Start now. Just start now, right? So forgive yourself. there's no one who gets through their 20s without doing some stupid shit with their money, myself very much included. And I just gave you a mortifying example. So forgive yourself. You get better at things over time. Number two, and it's related. Money is a skill and you just have to learn it, right? You didn't come out of the womb knowing what a solo 401k is or the difference between a Roth and a traditional IRA, right? These are just things. These are just terminology, right? You just have to learn them and you just have to kind of develop the skill. And actually, as with any skill, when you practice over time, you get better at it. Okay. This is part of the reason most of us, when we're young and handling money for the first time, make really stupid mistakes, like myself. And this is also why people, as they age and as they get more experience in life and they experience one too many overdraft fees and stressful moments financially, we get better at handling money. So I want you also to recognize it's just a skill and it's a skill you can learn. I mean, also, P.S., I made a whole program that is literally built to teach you those skills. So that is a very solvable problem. And I'm really proud to tell you, I will put a link to my program in the show notes because those skills are very learnable. And I have literally taken all my pain and all my mistakes with money and turned them into a program for you. So you don't have to make the mistakes and feel the pain that I have. And number three, the one I want to leave you with is just forget perfection. Just aim for improvement, right? Perfection is an impossible standard. You will never make it. You will never meet it. But improvement is absolutely possible. And in fact, it's how we learn. So this actually loops back to point number two, that money is a skill and skills improve with practice. Improvement is inevitable if you keep repeating things, right? If you pay quarterly taxes every quarter, once you've been paying for about 2 years, you will have had 8 times where you've paid your quarterly taxes and 2 tax returns where you've gotten to look at the tax return and like reconcile and see, okay, I overshot it this year, I undershot it this year. I think I get how to adjust it now, right? 2 years. In 2 years, you could be completely awesome at paying quarterlies. Frankly, you can be faster than that, but it's the repetition that makes you good at it. And so don't worry about getting it right the first time. Just get started, forget perfection, and aim for improvement. All right. I hope that has been helpful for you. I want to make it clear that I definitely do not try to teach you these things from a position of like, I'm perfect and I've got it all figured out. Honestly, the position that I'm teaching you from is I really screwed up so much of this so badly, so painfully that I really want to spare you that pain. So that is really the place that I'm coming to you from. And I hope that is helpful to you. And if you are listening to this episode comes out on the final day of my launch. You may be paying attention to that. You may not. That's totally fine either way. Like I said, enjoy all my free stuff or join the big program and get everything that I offer, like free tax updates throughout the year, which is going to be really important this year because the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act provisions expire in 2025. So whoever we end up electing this presidential cycle is going to shift the tax code pretty dramatically. So lots of tax updates coming this year. So anyway, if you want to sort of learn more about my program, Money Bootcamp, I will put a link in the show notes. You are very welcome to join. And if not, I welcome you here as well. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you on the next one. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm so grateful for that. This video is for education and entertainment only. Nothing in this episode should be taken as individual tax or financial advice. You can find all the tools, books, and links I reference at sunlighttax.com/podcast.